At 82 years old, Joe Pesci's story feels like a slow, heartbreaking goodbye from a man who once burned brighter than almost anyone in Hollywood. And when people see what he looks like today, how fragile, how quiet, how faded his once explosive presence has become, it's almost impossible not to cry. Joe Pesci was never meant to be a superstar. He didn't chase fame, he didn't crave attention, and he never cared about the Hollywood machine. He was a kid from Newark, New Jersey, small, fiery, tough, and stubborn enough to survive a world that wasn't kind. Everything about his life was a fight before it became a performance. He grew up in a working-class home with parents who struggled, with neighborhoods that demanded you grow up fast, and with the attitude that said you either stand up for yourself or get swallowed by the world. Acting wasn't even his first dream. Music was. His heart belonged to guitars, to smoky bars, to late-night rehearsals that never paid enough. He worked odd jobs, he took punches life threw at him, and for the longest time, nobody cared who Joe Pesci was. But when he finally stepped into film, he didn't just act. He exploded. Every scene he touched became electricity. Martin Scorsese saw in him a raw, dangerous brilliance that Hollywood had never seen before. Pesci didn't perform gangsters, he became them. In Raging Bull, he was fearless. In Goodfellas, he was terrifyingly alive. In Casino, he gave a performance so intense that people forgot he was acting. And yet the same man who delivered those unforgettable moments hated the spotlight. Fame felt like a cage. Interviews exhausted him. Paparazzi annoyed him. He couldn't walk the street without people shouting lines from his movies, expecting him to be the explosive, angry characters he played. Inside, he was nothing like them. He was quiet, reserved, sensitive, and tired. Tired in a way that fame couldn't fix. By the late 1990s, after winning an Oscar and becoming one of the most powerful character actors of all time, Pesci made a decision that shocked Hollywood. He walked away. He turned down movies, rejected scripts, ignored agents, and refused to return, even when studios begged, even when they offered millions. People assumed he was being difficult, but the truth was more painful. He was worn down mentally, physically, and emotionally. The roles he played had taken a toll on him. He had spent decades becoming violent men, dangerous men, broken men, and he carried their weight inside him long after the directors yelled cut. His energy wasn't the same. His fire didn't burn the way it once had, and he missed being anonymous. So he chose silence. He chose privacy. He chose to disappear. For years, Joe Pesci lived like a ghost. No interviews, no premieres, no Hollywood events. Fans didn't realize how deeply time had been carving itself into him. Age began catching him slowly at first. Stiff joints, slower movements, long pauses when he talked, back pain that never left him. Friends noticed his steps getting shorter, his hands trembling, his voice softening. The man who once filled the screen with explosive force now moved through life quietly, carefully, almost delicately, like someone who had seen too much and carried too much. When Martin Scorsese came to him with The Irishman, Pesci said no. Again. And again. And again. It took months of convincing before he agreed, and when he appeared on screen, the world saw something heartbreaking. His fire had dimmed. His body looked smaller, his movements slower, his voice quieter. The man who once played the most terrifying characters in Hollywood now carried the fragile weight of age in every expression. Fans couldn't ignore it. Joe wasn't acting older, he was older. And after filming ended, he disappeared again, this time even deeper into solitude. Today, at 82, Joe Pesci lives a life far away from Hollywood's noise. He stays inside most days, he avoids crowds, he rarely speaks publicly. He spends a lot of time alone or with a few trusted family members and friends. He listens to music. He sits quietly on his porch. He walks slowly, sometimes needing support. And when fans see rare photos of him today, their hearts break. Gone is the sharp jawline, the fast stride, the blazing confidence. His face is softer, marked by time and years of keeping the world at a distance. His eyes, once fiery and mischievous, now carry a gentle sadness, like a man who has lived several lives and feels every one of them in his bones. He is thinner, more fragile, moving through the world carefully as if every step is a reminder that legends too become vulnerable. He is no longer the explosive Joe Pesci the world remembers. He is an old man who has retreated into silence. And maybe the saddest part is that the world barely sees him now. Hollywood doesn't knock on his door anymore. The industry he once set on fire hardly mentions his name. Younger generations know his movies, but not the man behind them. And Joe? He doesn't complain. He never has. But those close to him see the loneliness. They see a man who gave everything to his craft and now spends his days tucked away in quiet corners of life. His days of intensity, of electricity, of unforgettable scenes are behind him, and he knows it. He feels it. But there is also a soft beauty in the way he lives now. Simple, quiet, and peaceful. He gave the world some of the greatest performances of all time, but the cost was his energy, his youth, his privacy, and pieces of his soul he will never get back. At 82, Joe Pesci is a reminder of how fragile legends are. When fans look at him today, moving slowly, speaking softly, shoulders slouched, hair turned white, eyes carrying the memories of a stormy life, they can't help but feel emotional. They can't help but remember the fire he once was and the silence he lives in now. And in that silence, there is something heartbreaking. The realization that we are watching time gently take one of Hollywood's greatest away from us.